Tonight, a look at the split-second decisions made in war that live with vets for the rest of their lives. This picture of this Marine in Vietnam captured the weight of that. In the eyes of the 22-year-old, you can see that the kill or be killed reality has taken a toll. This man lost friends and he fought people just like him. But the story that follows isn't about death. It's about the power of this picture to put a spotlight on life.
I would love to get this photo out there to try to find him. Wouldn't that be cool?
It was a long shot, but Debbie Cartwright hoped her social media post,
He said he was from Chicago.
with limited information
He went by the nickname Ski.
and a powerful picture, would reconnect her husband Paul with a very important person from his past. He was watching PBS's documentary series, The Vietnam War,
They endured.
when the picture of a buddy popped up on screen, but not just anybody.
And he called me in the living room, and it was a distress.
Was he upset? Was he...
No, he was happy.
Happy.
It was a happy, emotional cry.
I said, that's the guy that saved my life, no question. I just kept saying, oh my God, oh my God. And she said, you want me to try to look him up? And that's when I said, no, don't. Some people just don't want to be found or reminded.
A year and a half later, though, when Paul got sick and ended up in the Ann Arbor VA hospital, Debbie decided it was time to try and find the Marine in the picture. So on January 21st, she posted the image from the documentary on Facebook. Family friend John Schmitz saw it.
And I just Google, I typed in Vietnam veteran from America with the nickname of Ski, and there was that picture that Paul froze on his TV.
What he found was the story I did in November of 2017 on the man in the photo, Marine Corps veteran Hank Janikowski.
Your work prompted this conversation.
In it, I asked filmmaker Lynn Novick why she and Ken Burns chose his picture, which photographer Larry Burrows took, for the final tour of duty image in their documentary.
He's sort of looking off to the side, but he's very much present and in a real place. And you're left wondering, wow, what has this guy been through?
Just a little excerpt from the story John sent Debbie's way.
And I'm watching it, and I was just like, no way did you find this man.
He did indeed find Ski. And 4 days after her search began, Debbie left this message.
I have been trying to locate your father.
Yes, the man they were looking for was the man I've known my whole life, my dad.
I see your dad in you. Do I ever?
The connection put me on a path north from Cincinnati to Ann Arbor, Michigan to meet the Cartwrights in Paul's hospital room.
That's the man that saved my life.
Paul told me all about the young Hank he called Ski.
He was a compassionate man. He was a no-nonsense man.
Yes.
And if you told him, I'll be there in 10 minutes, your butt better be there in 10 minutes, or he'd be coming to jerk you out and find out why you're not.
Uh-huh.
And then he'd laugh and say, come on, let's go.
He also told me something familiar, that Dad was very controlled with his language.
The man wouldn't swear.
And you said he invented a word for the F word?
Fletch. Hey, Fletch. I said, why did you just say the word?
The 52-year-old memory got a laugh out of my father. He lives just about 4 hours from Paul, right outside Chicago.
Brings back memories.
Good memories? In some ways?
In some ways, in some ways not.
Yeah. Do you remember Paul?
I'd like to say I do. He looks very, very familiar. So many years ago, everything seems to fade.
So he had me call another man he served with, Rick Barnes, who sent me this picture from Vietnam. There's Rick, there's my dad, and there's Paul. The photo was from Christmas 1966. Days later, Paul would find himself in a situation that earned him a Purple Heart.
It was January 6th, right?
Yep.
Of 1967.
He wrote his family about it in a letter they saved and that Debbie shared.
Pow, I caught it in my left shoulder.
Paul was shot and the armed enemy was closing in.
He was getting ready to squeeze again when your dad levels him, literally. Started with 100 rounds at his feet and didn't let up till he was done at his head.
The Marine, whose picture said so much without saying a word.
There's something about his expression that just can hold your attention forever.
Can't recall the firefight to talk about it in any detail.
And a lot of things you don't want to remember.
But he does remember his training and a simple rule.
That you're left standing and your opponent isn't. It's something you instantaneously do. It's drilled into you from Marine Corps boot camp on through.
Paul says it is the action that gave him his adult life, one that's had a ripple effect. As a police officer, he made a difference in many lives. As a friend and family man, the same.
Paul is the one guy in my life that if I needed something at 3 o'clock in the morning, he would be there.
He's been there for Debbie, too. They're married almost 40 years. There are 6 grandchildren from 3 children. I met daughter Amy.
Thank you, Ski. I have a dad because of you, and I'm here because of you. Yeah, thank you.
That makes you smile, huh, Dad?
Yes, it does.
He's glad Debbie found him, and so is Paul. Even though he initially asked her not to look for Ski, he's happy she did.
I don't want to bring it up. It's too ugly.
Both men still keep a lot of what they saw and heard in Vietnam to themselves.
War is hell.
But here's the power of that picture from the documentary. It got them talking about a bond forged in battle.
They endured.
How they found life even when the death of war weighed heavy on their hearts. They did endure, and even though they haven't had a reunion in person, it's as if they did.
How you doing, buddy?
Good to see you again. It's crazy. It really is crazy that all this came about because of a picture. Something else, man.
So they met through me, but they hope, if their health permits, to meet in person someday. Both Paul and my dad, who I interviewed with my cell phone, are battling illnesses, but they were happy to speak with me about this, and I'm so grateful they did. One overarching goal of the Burns-Novick documentary series was just to get people talking, just like my dad and Paul got talking.